The book of Hebrews tells us, "Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares." Well, that's exactly what happened to Abraham. As he sat in the door of his tent, 3 men showed up. He immediately ran to them, invited them in, and asked his wife to prepare a meal, ran to the herd and took a young calf, and they got his men to butcher it, and he set food before these 3 men. Well, it turns out that these 3 men were the Lord himself and 2 angels. And so as they talked, the Lord told Abraham that Sarah was going to have a child. And he also said, in verse 17 of Genesis 18, the Lord said, "Shall I hide from Abraham that thing which I do?" And so he tells him, we're going to go down and have a look down into the cities of the plain. Sodom, Gomorrah, and the other 3 cities. There were 5 altogether. And he says, we're going to see if it's as bad as what it sounds like. And if it is, we're going to destroy those cities. And the amazing thing about that is that when Abraham heard this, now think about it. Think about some of the places that you know of today. There might be some place that you might say, okay, Lord, it's a terrible place. It is an awful place. It is filled with sin. But that wasn't what Abraham did. Abraham drew near, verse 23, and said, "Wilt thou also destroy the righteous with the wicked?" Now, one of the things that we know is Abraham knew that his nephew Lot was living down there with his family, and he didn't want to see Lot destroyed. But I don't think it was even, I think it went farther than that. I think Abraham was concerned that God was going to do something that was going to wipe out some righteous people along with some wicked people. In other words, Abraham's thinking was, well, not everybody down there is wicked. And so Abraham begins this asking of a question. It's an intercession with God. "Peradventure, there be 50 righteous within the city. Wilt thou also destroy and not spare the place for the 50 righteous that are therein?" And God says, all right, I'll spare it if we can find 50. Well, as Abraham sits there for a little bit and he thinks, he's like, it really is a pretty wicked place. Lord, what if there's 45 there? God says, I'll spare it if we can find 45. Abraham says, I've gone this far. What about 30? If there's only 30, will you spare it? He says, yeah, I'll spare it if there's 30. What about 20? God says, I'll spare it if we can find 20 righteous there. And as Abraham sits there and he thinks about it, and he thinks about just how wicked the place is, and he thinks about just how few righteous people there might be, he says, Lord, will you spare it for 10? And God says, yes, I will spare it. I will not destroy it for 10's sake, he said. And the Lord went his way as soon as he had left communicating with Abraham, and Abraham returned unto his place. And so you know the story. God destroyed those cities because of their wickedness. And there were not 10 righteous people in those cities. Matter of fact, there was only one, and that was Lot. But as you read the story, here's the amazing thing to me. In chapter 19 and verse 29, it says, "It came to pass when God destroyed the cities of the plain, that God remembered Abraham and sent Lot out of the midst of the overthrow when he overthrew the cities in the which Lot dwelt." Abraham's intercession was remembered by God. And God spared Lot because of Abraham's prayer. Even though God couldn't find 10 righteous people in the city, he did take the righteous person and he offered his family as well. Some of them came and some of them didn't. But he spared him because of Abraham's intercession. I am very encouraged by that. And I just want to encourage you this morning. You and I, we have a ministry that we can intercede on behalf of others at any time and in any place. So I just want to ask you, who are you interceding for that needs God's help right now? God bless you. Have a great day.